Good morning, ladies. I hope this Sunday finds you well. I have been meaning to do this video for a few days as one of the ladies in the group asked a question about what is a medicine spot. And what I thought it would be best for me to do is actually record this video and explain to you what a medicine spot is whilst I'm sitting in my medicine spot. And to give you a little background about how I learned about this, I've just got my drink here. Now, as well, just to clarify this, and the reason some of the ladies in this group are talking about it is because we've just completed a 30-day rewilding challenge where I talked about the benefits of a medicine spot, and it was the one thing that I said, out of all of the 30 days, if this is the thing that you can do for yourself every day, that alone will be life-changing. It will be transformational. If it's the only thing those ladies took out of the 30 days, it would be extraordinarily beneficial for them. So I want to talk a bit about that. So if anyone else feels called to practice giving yourself some space and time, then it's a wonderful invitation to give yourself, and it's also a huge gift. So when my father died in 2016, what I did, for those of you that don't know, is I sold my house, I sold my business, and I embarked on an adventure in the summer of 2017. One of those was going to Spain with my friend Neil in Andalusia, in a place called 𝗪𝗪𝗪. And I went for a week rewilding, and one of the reasons I did that, well, there was multiple reasons, but one of the reasons I did that was because I wanted to see what it would be like for myself to have a week in nature without any social media, being off-grid, and just a break from everything that we're conditioned to be around, those kind of habits that get formed unconsciously in our brain. And also I wanted to see what it would be like because I wanted to run retreats there. That was one of my dreams at that time. And subsequently I have been running retreats there, my rewilding retreats. And we had our second one in March of this year. Next one's next April. But back in 2017, I was incredibly anxious, incredibly stressed, was suffering with symptoms from PTSD. I didn't understand who I was, and my connection to nature, although I had worked outside for many years up to that point, was still fairly disconnected. I was disconnected from myself. I was disconnected from nature. I was constantly in flight or fright, so my stress response was activated a lot, and I didn't even realise that that was the case. I just knew that there was something missing. That's what I knew. So when I arrived in Spain with Neil, one of the things that he encouraged me to do, well, he didn't encourage me to do, it was basically part of the programme, so it was something I had to do. Cheers. It was to find a space in the land where I felt called to sit every morning as the sun rose and just sit and be without my phone, without my books, without anything at that point. And for the first few days of doing it, I really struggled. I really struggled just to sit and be. I didn't understand the benefits of it. I was in my head, I was in my intellect, I was grumpy, I was fed up, I was irritated, I was fidgety, I wasn't settled at all. And as the week progressed, I became settled and I became more aware of myself and of nature and of my surroundings. And as Neil explained why, how this is important and why this is important, I just settled into surrendering into my experience and being into nature. So I'm going to do my best to try and explain why it's beneficial and why I continue to do this to this day. Because most of us live in a state of stress. We're stressed in our mind, we're busy in our minds. We don't necessarily have to be busy on the outside. We can be busy in here and fairly quiet on the outside, in the external. But most people are busy not only in their mind, but in their lives as well. So by creating some space for yourself to just be helps to regulate our nervous systems, helps to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. You've got two systems in you, your flight or fright, which you'll have heard of, and your rest and digest. And it's the rest and digest, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the system that rarely gets activated, but should, in theory, be activated after we've eaten, and certainly when we go to sleep. But because so many of us live in a heightened sense of stress and worry, anxiety, the what-ifs, the shoulda, woulda, coulda committee, we don't activate that system. So this is a practice, and I would encourage you to just feel into whether this calls to you or not, because being gentle to yourself, giving yourself the gift of time, giving yourself the gift of space is so important, but not honoured by many, many, many women. And there's many reasons for that, which I won't go into today. But if you could find a space in your garden, if you have one, just a space that you feel called to do. Now, I'm here at the back of my garden. The sun rises in the east. So for me, when I sit here, I look towards the sun. Eyes open, eyes closed. It just depends on how I feel on any given day. And I sit and just be. So if you don't have a garden, but you have a flat or something like that, and you fancy doing this, find a window in your flat that you can open and sit and just look outside. It doesn't matter what's around you, because you can just find the time to sit and just be. And my preferred choice, personally, is to be barefoot. So I have my bare feet on the earth, because there's grounding qualities, because the earth has its own magnetic field that we also have in our body, and so there's a kind of symbiotic relationship between me and the earth. But again, if you haven't got a garden or you haven't got an area in your house, just find a window that you can sit and look at nature, even if it doesn't matter what it is, right? It just doesn't matter. But you're breathing in from the air. You're breathing in nature. You're looking at your surroundings. You're listening to the birds. You're listening to the wind in the trees. You, by the very nature of your breath, you're breathing in oxygen, and we breathe out carbon dioxide. And the trees breathe the opposite. So they're breathing out oxygen and breathing in carbon dioxide. So again, there's this symbiotic relationship with nature. So if you smell a flower, right, that in, out, yin, yang, that relationship to the earth that we are disconnected from, that divine intelligence that has us here, that we are deeply connected to, we essentially become a part of that flower. That flower becomes a part of us. We breathe in, they breathe in. We breathe out, they breathe out. And that's how we are here, right? So it's making time for you to just see the absolute amazingness just of that, to give yourself the sacred gift of time and space, which I can't tell you the benefits it will give to you and then everyone around you as you start to settle into that space. So if you need to set your alarm just for 5 minutes earlier, and you maybe even just do 2 minutes a day, you just start with 2 minutes a day. And for those of you that don't have a garden and you're in a flat, if you were to just go for a walk in a park or the beach or just something green, and take your shoes off and just walk gently on the earth. Good morning, Mark. How are you? Hope you had a lovely day yesterday. Just to be grounded, to take notice of what's around you, particularly with regards to nature. You start to look up, you start to listen to the birds, you start to see what's around you. And if you go to the same spot every day, which is what I do, I'm here in my spot, you can see the sunrise behind me. That place in nature starts to get used to your presence, and you start to get used to its presence, and then there becomes this kind of natural way of being with the earth, with Mother Nature, with yourself. But the most important thing, good morning, Hayley. The most important thing is that you are regulating your nervous system. So because we're introducing almost like a new habit from our conditioned way of being, we often just get up and we start to go into that kind of go mode, and we pick up our phone and we scroll on the phone, and then we might go through our routine in the morning. This starts a new habit which doesn't activate all of the kind of habitual ways of being. What I teach is about the brain, neuroscience, and kind of understanding that everything's on automatic pilot, including your routine. And this just creates a new pattern, a new neurological wiring for yourself, for your psyche, for your soul, which is so beneficial for you because it opens up some space that normally we wouldn't give ourselves. And you are worth giving yourself that space and time to just be in nature. It doesn't matter to me where you sit. It doesn't matter to me what time of the day. My preferred time of the day is early in the morning because it's before my day starts, and I want to feel settled into myself and my body, because we are so disconnected from our body, because most of us spend all of our time in our intellect and planning our day and dealing with, you know, family stuff and whatever else. So even if you have to set your alarm like 10 minutes earlier and you just sit in the space, wherever that may be, or if you can't do that in the morning and you've got 5 minutes to go and just step on some grass outside your house, find some time every single day for you to just sit, look up, look around, don't have your phone. Feel into your body, feel into your breath, feel into the space. Because I guarantee you, once you get out of that shitty committee loop, which is what I was in the first few days in Spain, where I was just like, oh my God, this is fucking shit, and I don't have my phone, and I don't know what to do, and this is annoying, and who the bloody hell is Neil anyway, and blah, 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 blah. Like, it was just like this kind of narration, which makes me laugh now, because I had no idea that that was on automatic pilot, and that my conditioning wanted me to keep with the habits of my day, which were automatic. And the automatic pilot is coming from your subconscious, which wants things to be automatic, which is 80 to 90% of your brain, which is in wanting you to survive. And survival is about repetition, is about familiarity. Now this is something that's familiar to me, but it's spacious awareness, spatial awareness, space. Like, what phase is the moon at? Where is the sun in the sky? What season are we in? Now, if it's raining, I do sit over there at the other end of my garden. But equally, I wouldn't mind if I sat somewhere with the window open, just to give myself that space and time. So that's what a medicine spot is. It's a spot for you, just for you, that is medicine for the soul, that allows you to feel into your sacred self, into your sacred body, into something that we're connected to, which is divine intelligence, and which is incredibly powerful. It's a gift. It's a gift for yourself. It's a gift to look at the sun as it rises. That also, if I look east towards the sun, there's something that happens in my body that synchronizes with my own circadian rhythm. Now again, that's a deeper subject, and that's something I went into on the 30 days, so I'm not going to go into that here. But just see what happens if you do it, if you give yourself some space. Just see what arises for you and allow yourself to be with whatever arises. And as you settle, and as your parasympathetic nervous system settles, you start to notice things which are quite incredible, and have maybe possibly open up the space for new thoughts. You have a wonderful day too, Marg, and anyone listening, and let me know if you try it. And all of you ladies who were on the 30-day rewilding, maybe comment here and let the other ladies know how it went for you doing that. Like, what was your experience of that? Anyway, have a beautiful Sunday, and yeah, take care.